we were on this I don't remember where it was. We were in the Texas Panhandle somewhere, and the blender tender's up there, and we're almost done with the job. We're 3/4 done. I mean, we've got 2 more stages, like 2 more inside the stages to a couple more steps to go, and the stage is over. I'm sitting there and we're kind of working some things out, and I hear blender's on fire.
Welcome back to another edition of Cold Ones Cold Board. This one's going to be a little bit different because we've got a pretty big day tomorrow. I'm joined on my left by Mr. Jeff Cox.
Howdy.
On my right, Mr. Ryan Bell.
Hello.
So, guys, what do we have going on tomorrow?
The Crawfish Boil, 3rd annual Crawfish Boil.
Yeah, this is true. So the 3rd annual, it is technically the 3rd. The first one we were down in Galveston, and it was more of a, hey, let's just get together and have a little bit of a crawfish boil. Last year's was considerably larger than the first. And this year's, we've got some sponsors involved. We've got some people helping us host it. This year's, the head count is getting pretty up there on the RSVP list.
Yeah. It's been a little stressful. Not stressful. Fun. I'd say fun today. Trying to prepare for it. Getting ready for all these.
If we keep on this trajectory, I really feel like we may have to get a stadium next year.
Yeah. It's
no doubt.
Definitely surpassed what I expected so far on the head count. And it's stressful because we've had to watch the weather. So Houston has gotten just hammered with storms for like the last 4 days. And when you look at the weather app right now, I don't know what it is. I'm going to take a look. This is the only day that's showing sun all weekend long in the last 4 days.
Yeah.
We're technically under a flood watch right now. And Saturday's showing partly cloudy or partly sunny with a high of 85. And Sunday is 70% chance of thunderstorms. So if we thread this needle, it was meant to be.
It was
good stuff.
Yeah.
But even if we don't, I've got a feeling that like everybody that says they're going to show up, we may end up with kayaks and canoes just parked in the front.
That's absolutely true. And I'm hoping, because we're having to wait to set up tables. So last year we kind of had this in a, like, Ryan, this is before you came on board. We kind of had this like very good operation set up, and we were able to get the tables lined out Friday night. We were able to get the lights out. Everything was good. This year, I think we're having to wait till tomorrow morning to set out tables because there is a chance of storms overnight.
Yep.
So
having to adjust a little.
Having to adjust, and thank God for a large backyard with artificial grass, because if not, we'd have a swamp.
Yeah, I'm impressed with how fast it drains. I can say that after yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was intense. So, this is something I look forward to every year, because crawfish is one of my favorite things to eat. It's one of my favorite things to cook because it's a party all in and of itself, right? So once tomorrow kind of begins, then the stress kind of goes away for me. So
yeah, stress goes away for me. I think once we get the beer on ice and like get a little more set up, it's gone.
Yeah,
tomorrow is going to go so smooth with all the prep we've been doing lately, and looking forward to it. Like, this is going to be the biggest one we've had. Like, considering where we were on that first year to where we've grown to here, and like the recognition in the industry and like all that's going to come, like it's going to be pretty cool tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I think we got a great crowd coming. It's been a really fun week. So everybody kind of came in from out of town. Jeff.
Yep. Came from Dallas, Fort Worth. Yeah.
Right.
Drove down.
Oklahoma City.
And so we've had people come in from Calgary for this. We've got Daphne. She's in from Calgary. We've got Dana that's in from Calgary. We've got Julian that's in from Calgary. We got Aaron, who came down to help us with the videography and the podcasting. It's been a great week because not very often do we all get to work together in one place. It's usually Zoom calls and everything else. So this is stuff that is, it's needed sometimes. And, I know, Ryan yesterday picked up a brisket. He smoked a brisket all day. That's what we're having for dinner tonight. We all are kind of doing not really a potluck, but everybody's just kind of throwing in and cooking something.
Yep.
Ryan's doing some pork butts for tomorrow for the people who are not crawfish connoisseurs or perhaps could be allergic.
Yeah. And we're introducing Julian to some Texas barbecue style, like how we cook it, how we prepare it and stuff. Julian's the newest member of the sales team, right?
Yep.
And he's from Canada. It's great to have him down here and get to meet him in person.
Absolutely.
Instead of through a screen. So it's been a fun day. Been a fun week so far.
It's been, getting everybody together is you really can't put into words how meaningful that is for a group that talks to each other every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not the shortest flight to go from Calgary to Houston or whatever. nor is it always conducive to the means of the business. But, this opportunity has been great because now when we hop on those Zoom calls, we, know Julian.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we've hung out with
We've
him.
shared a beer with him. Yeah. Yep.
It's been really odd to talk to, actually get to meet face-to-face people that you've spoken to really on a daily basis for a year.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I get to hug your neck this time. It's been great to really get to meet everybody and just kind of further the relationship. Like you cement it whenever you kind of can, like they're standing in front of you. You're not talking to a screen anymore.
Yeah. And so tomorrow we're getting up early. We hosted a poker night, kind of a last second poker night. Yeah. Very small. Thursday night, I'm kind of paying for that today because it ran late as they always do.
I think we all are.
I think it was by the time the last person left the house, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then, tried to get up early this morning so that we could go pick up some stuff over back near my hometown. And then we're going to do that again tomorrow to go pick up the crawfish at 10 a.m. And so I'm excited to take y'all to go do this crawfish pickup because it's a lot like a NASCAR pit stop.
Man, you've been hyping this up. They
better deliver. And I told them last weekend, I was like, hey, we're going to do some weird stuff. We may have a videographer shooting some video. Y'all good with that? And they absolutely love the idea. This has got a great setup when you walk in. I have not picked up live crawfish from them this year. But in years past, there's like people that just pop out of everywhere and they've, you tell them your name and they're just grabbing sacks. They've got your ice chest open. They're throwing the crawfish in there. They're icing them down for you. They even, you don't even have to get out of your truck. They bring all your spices that you order from them. And then they bring the credit card machine, like straight into your window, swit, and you're done. Like you're in and out in like 10 minutes. Like it's pretty impressive.
Got it down.
Operation. I've not heard anything, so I'm hoping the rain hasn't impacted them at all. So
yeah, that was crazy today. Driving around, seeing all that. I hope everybody, I haven't heard anybody getting harmed too bad from it, but that Lake Conroe being the level it was, that was nuts today.
Yeah,
it's the first time seeing
rivers.
that.
I mean, just the way the rivers are out of banks, everything's running super high. I mean, really got to pray for everybody that's affected by that.
Appreciate the tour today. I know
yeah,
it was kind of like I said. I'm native Texan, but I've never seen that. I've heard it happening down here, but I've never seen it in person. And to see all that, like we saw it today.
Yeah, y'all got the 10-cent tour.
Yeah,
just cruise y'all around a little bit.
Yeah,
I wouldn't expect more. From
no, that's about all you're gonna get. That was it. And I was about exhausted afterwards. Man, shit.
I think you were exhausted before.
Yeah, I was exhausted before. I think talking was what was keeping me awake.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, that's when Lake Conroe comes out of the banks like that, you don't see it very often. I mean, well, I guess it happens about once a year because they try to do some flood control and manage the dam a little bit better. I would not like to be the person that's having to make that decision to release water.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you saw some of the stuff that's getting flooded right now, and that's directly because of opening the dam.
Well, and they're talking about it coming up, and Julian said something earlier about coming up 9 feet over the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
That's insane based on where the water level.
Yep. And it's, everything flows from up north, so they're trying to release, but it floods, it'll flood parts of Houston when they open that dam up.
Right.
And so it's really, when you start looking at a map and you see like how far that river flows and the winds and curves of it, you can actually really tell, okay, this is going to impact here at some point. And it flows into Lake Houston and, then that, flows into the Gulf. Right. Eventually. But yeah, no, it was good. I was excited to kind of drive up there, show y'all, made a little detour by the Conroe Academy, picked up another crawfish cooker, all that fun stuff.
Had to get another one.
So I had to get another one just to make sure,
Yeah.
Experienced a little more of that fantastic Houston traffic.
Yeah. Got to see how you kind of avoid it going the Hardy.
Yeah.
So, but so we're definitely excited. We want to do a little bit of talking about that, about kind of all the logistics and planning and everything that we're doing today. We've got a lot of food that we're about to start throwing on the pit here in a little bit. Beans are on. We're going to have a great dinner, kind of a relaxing night. Probably maybe hop in the pool. I don't know.
Yeah.
And just kind of take it easy because tomorrow's going to be,
running and
full
gunning.
on,
Yep.
running and gunning.
All hands on deck.
We got to do ice, all that good stuff tomorrow. We got to probably pack the ice chest tonight, get ice in the morning. And then, be ready because everybody's going to start showing up.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. If we hit the number that the RSVP is, I might just go home.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it makes me feel great to know I've got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday to be able to get out of here.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely not going to be me. I think you'll get to avoid the cleanup. We'll do a lot tomorrow night. And then the rest will be left for me, Jeff, and Daff.
We'll pick up the slack as usual.
Yeah, I appreciate. I already committed. I'm gonna walk around and be picking stuff up while the whole thing's going on.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Alex deciding to come into town. I don't think he realizes what he just signed up for, but he's going to be on cleanup duty.
Yeah,
He has no clue what he just walked in.
Yeah, I did hear him say that he was willing to pick up where I left off. So I plan on leaving all off and just let Alex do it.
You said it right now, so it's official.
I can't think of a better person.
Like 100%. That's it.
Yeah, I appreciate Alex. I appreciate your commitment.
But and I got to think, y'all coming into town helping out has been fantastic. Julian helping out, doing some stuff around here has been fantastic. Daff and Dana are busting their tails to make this a solid event.
And then Justin.
Justin, didn't mean to leave him out. Justin
hanging lights for us yesterday. Like he put in some work the last couple of days. So and getting to see him and meet him in person.
And what's impressive is we're doing that all while doing our normal job.
Yeah.
Which is, we haven't let anything fall through the crack.
Yeah, sending quotes in between cooking briskets and all kinds of grabbing crawfish and stuff.
But this is stuff that you enjoy doing though.
Oh yeah.
Like you would do this
have
at
it any
home,
other way.
right?
Yeah.
You would. I know you cook. You love to barbecue. So I mean, like now you're just getting to. I don't want to say you're getting paid for it because I don't want Blair to get upset. But but we're getting paid to do something that we enjoy.
Well, I will say that just by cooking that brisket, it's going to be way cheaper what we're having for dinner tonight, as opposed to everybody going out to eat dinner.
Yeah, we just don't want to tell them that you got like the most expensive Wagyu brisket that HEB had to offer.
All they had left was one 24-pound A5 Wagyu
covered in
brisket.
gold.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you just got to do what you got to do.
We can bleep all this out. It was a Packer brisket. That,
it was.
They ran over it. It fell off the truck and they ran over it 3 times.
Yeah, it looked like it was full of gristle, but I mean, I figured I would make the good economic decision to pick that one up.
100%. We're living right.
We are.
So cool. So one of the other things we wanted to talk about, besides all the fun stuff, is we all crossed paths. That's how we all met each other back in our Weatherford International days.
Yep.
We were all on the Frac side of things. I think we all met each other probably 2012-ish or so, 2013.
Be about right.
Jeff was still in DFW, Ryan was still in Oklahoma City, and I was in Alice, Texas, and then San Antonio, and then eventually Houston. And so what was really neat for me when I came over here, I love, like I've talked about this with Justin and some other people on these shows. Culture is such a big deal for us. And so and I love, when we get to post a position opening and getting resumes and stuff like that. Like I like when, if I don't know them, that somebody on the team might know them, or it's a friend of a friend type deal. And kind of like you have an understanding of who the people you're hiring are, that they kind of have the same thought process and everything else that comes to the table. And so back in, I think it was maybe 20 or 21, Shane and I, it was just Shane and I doing sales really. And we were like, we need another sales guy. We need somebody else here. And me and you had been trading text messages about some other stuff. And I was like, Jeff. And we reached out to Jeff and we talked to him and then we brought him in. And then, yours was a little bit different. Like, you came on board, last summer, but it's like, okay, cool. Because we don't like to micromanage. We don't like to have to stay on top of people and tell them to do their job.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're running your own business here a little bit. Yep. Like it's pretty cool. But
and when you get people who come in and they are driven.
Yep.
And they want to they don't want to go, okay, well, nobody's really monitoring me because I'm a remote, so I'm going to go sit on the couch today. Or I'm going to go screw around and go fishing instead of working.
Yeah, I think it works really well if you get like a high guilt complex. Like if you're not working from 7:30 in the morning or 8 or something like that till 5 or 6 o'clock at night, if something's not happening in those hours, you feel super guilty about, man, I feel like I'm not doing anything. Like I need to do more. Like this, you would be a fit. I think that's how we all are.
Right.
That was one of the hardest things during COVID was your inability to actually get out and do something. So then you're sitting behind a desk all day at your house and you're like, did I do enough today? Did I do something productive? And it was like, yes. And so I would literally, because my mind drifts the way yours does, I would start taking notes of everything I did just so I could convince myself that I was being productive.
Yeah. We're field guys. Like that's where we started. Like if you're bored or sitting there in the field, something's probably about to go wrong. So like that's a natural thing that happens to us.
That's
on
really,
gas. So,
yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, because we all started in the field, but I mean, even by and large to this point, we're very operations focused.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that we do sales. I mean, we're really, if you boil it down, I mean, we started operations.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of what we all have in common. That's why we get along so well.
Yeah.
Yep.
I always joke around a friend of mine. I'm always like, oh, I'm not a sales guy. I'm like an ops guy. And she's like, you're the most salesy person I know.
I've heard her tell you that.
Yeah. And it's just like, I find it hilarious. Because like, she'll introduce me to somebody. She's like, he's going to tell you he's not a sales guy. Like, yeah, I'm an ops guy. And she's like, shut up. You're an idiot.
Don't listen to him again.
Deep down at heart, I still got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just happen to be a friendly guy that likes to talk.
That's the problem. I think my dad always said that like people like us were vaccinated with a phonograph needle. That didn't mean something to a lot of people, but if you know what a phonograph is, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Now Jeff, on the other hand, Jeff's a little quieter. Lee and I don't know that we've ever met a stranger.
Yeah. Y'all could talk to. I don't know if there's anything y'all wouldn't talk to, but
Yeah, probably
anyways.
not.
You know, like my approach on
But it's
things
not a bad
is-
thing.
is,
Like,
No.
Yeah.
like I've got to like, and I think we probably all share this because we are all very similar. That's why we not just do we work together, but we actually enjoy hanging out
Yeah.
together.
We like
That's
the
cool
same
thing about
stuff. We
this.
all cook. We all hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just, typical Texan and
Yep.
Oklahoma guy.
Yeah.
We're from
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Hey, don't. I'm gonna tell you right now. Don't knock it till you tried it.
I know. I need to spend some more time up there.
Yeah.
But my outlook on things is probably very similar to y'all's. I love talking to people. Like it could be a waiter, it could be a waitress, it could be somebody just walking by. I'm always like, hey, how you doing? Because at the end of the day, you don't know how that person's day is going.
Uh-huh.
And so if you can just smile, and it takes nothing to smile, you could turn that person's mentality or their outset on life completely around in just 2 seconds.
That's right. Yeah, you can impact somebody.
Yeah.
Like 5 or 10 seconds of your life can impact somebody. 5 or 10 seconds of my time might impact a whole day or a whole week or a month for somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really contagious. Like an attitude is contagious. Like everybody says that.
Like, and I have a hard time even getting upset, like going to a restaurant when the service is not great.
Right.
Because I'm like, well, okay, well, they're busy, or, I'm just like, maybe they've got something going on. Maybe you don't know. And like I always said, like, you don't know if that person's having the worst day of their life where they're thinking the absolute unimaginable thing and you just smile.
Well, typically somebody's not going to show up to work and decide, I'm going to do a horrible job of my job today.
Yeah. 100%.
So you really need to think about that. If you're getting bad service, something not even maybe, typically 99% of the time, something else is going on behind the scenes that's causing that to happen.
Yep.
Be it that in their personal life or just behind closed doors that you don't see.
Yeah. And it's a lot easier and it's a lot more fun to walk around just happy, go lucky, and not be an ass.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so much easier too.
And it's fun. Like you just have to laugh.
Yeah.
Like probably like my wife, because they would like call me out on this. Like my only thing is driving. Like I cannot, like I'm just like, you're an idiot. Get out of my damn way.
I've watched it today.
You watched it?
I've watched it today.
I think we were firsthand.
Yeah.
Firsthand experience today.
Yeah, it was
the
all
kids
right
love
till you took your seatbelt off and started hanging out the window.
No, so I don't get the road rage deal. It's more of just like a roll my eyes, like mutter to myself, like, what kind of idiot driver are you?
Okay, now you did say that, but you were not muttering to yourself.
Yeah, well.
Everybody in the truck.
It just kind of just pops out because I'm just like, oh my God, get out of the damn way. Well, why are you driving so slow? Like it's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit and you're driving 35. It's got round wheels. If the good Lord didn't want it to move, he would have put square wheels on it.
They might have lost the right hand, like the pedal on the right. You don't know. Somebody not paying attention might have just accidentally bumped the car into neutral whenever they were at a stoplight and they didn't know.
Was that an accident?
That's it. I don't know. I'm not gonna cop to that at all.
So let me I guess build this out a little bit. We were going to go to the grocery earlier as part of our big planning for tomorrow, and so Daphne's driving. Ryan's sitting shotgun and me and Dana are sitting in the middle seats. Daphne was looking out the window, looking at something, and Ryan just hit it in neutral. With the car in neutral, so she goes and hits the gas, and it's like, zoom, nothing.
She cobbed down on it.
Oh, she got nervous. She was like, oh my God, what happened?
Did I just bring it?
Yeah,
Exactly.
thought she broke it.
Yeah, she
Man.
was like, oh, what happened? What happened? And I couldn't not laugh.
Yeah, it was frantic. Yeah. She
Poor
was very
Daphne.
nervous. Oh,
Poor
very-
Daphne.
Yeah.
She called me a bad name.
Well, she should have.
Yeah. She said some of the words that I was saying to perfect strangers driving.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing is I'm not being mean to them because they don't know that I'm saying mean things.
No. You got that windshield.
Yeah, I got the windshield. I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, get out of the damn way.
What were you like? So you're kind of mad and kind of a pirate. So
Yeah, a little bit, You know, pirates were cool back in the day.
they are. They're still cool.
Yeah. I mean, not really today.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if it keeps raining, we may see some around here.
Yeah, but like pirates today aren't as cool as they were 100 years ago, whenever pirates were around.
Well, don't tell Johnny Depp that. That's all.
Well, I mean, but okay, let's talk about so piracy. Like, it's not, you see them and they're in small boats with an engine on it, and
those are
chasing
mean
down.
pirates. We're not talking about mean pirates.
Okay. I was talking realistic pirates. Like, I mean, they had Blackbeard back in the day who had like the gunpowder and the beard and lighted up, and he was like intimidating.
Yeah.
That's
Drinking rum all day and just.
These people today don't put the effort forth.
Yeah.
This is true.
It's lazy.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to be a pirate, go all out. Get the hat. Get the parrot. Cut your leg off.
Right. Yeah.
Get a
If you're
cool
gonna go,
boat,
yeah.
not
If you're gonna go.
Yeah.
I mean, you should go all in.
Yeah.
Maybe, okay, don't get a sailboat, but at least get a cooler boat.
I don't know. Sailboats are kind of dope.
They are pretty dope, but I mean, it's probably pretty hard to catch like a motorboat with a sailboat if you're a pirate.
Maybe. I don't know. If you practice enough, I got a feeling 1 out of 10.
Is it a big sailboat or is it like a racing sailboat?
No, if you're gonna get a sailboat, you're gonna get a big sailboat.
Like, it's got to be like a big pirate ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're not walking the plank anymore. It's lazy. It's this entitled generation.
It's
internet.
lack of commitment is what it is.
It is, yeah. 100%. 100%.
Now, I think between me and you and Jeff, you know who would make the best looking pirate?
That's a loaded question. I don't even want to know.
It's got to be Jeff, dude. I mean,
Me?
he can come in with the big old.
Yeah.
For everybody
Yeah.
that doesn't know, Jeff, up until about 3 days ago, had like the nicest Tom Selleck mustache. I think he was afraid when he got out of the house, ladies would not leave him alone, and so he's a happily married,
It was a
committed
favorite of my
man.
wife, yeah.
He was a happily married, committed man. He chose to remove the mustache whenever he was leaving the house.
Yeah.
But
it was really this podcast. I was just nervous about having a.
That's true. What's bad though is I saw you shave like 45 minutes ago, and you've already kind of.
Yeah, it's a fast grower.
Yeah.
It's good product. I don't know. Good soap I use to wash my face. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I worked with a guy.
Well, thank you.
I worked with a guy in South Texas. So in South Texas, they instituted you had to be clean shaven to be on location,
Right?
Because of H2S and wearing a mask.
Got to wear the SCBA.
And this guy, he was a good buddy of mine, Nate. I worked with him. He was like Mexican Irish or something. And I've never seen somebody who could grow a beard as quickly as he could. It was insane. So he would shave in the morning, and the company man, would come in, for the night shift or whatever. And he'd walk in, and Nate would be the supervisor treating the job, and he'd be like, "God damn it, Order! I told you to shave. Man, I shaved this morning." And the guy was like, "You're full of shit."
So he part werewolf.
He told him, he was like, "All right, you shave in the morning, bring your razor. I want to see you actually clean shaven." So this company man stayed up from the night shift. Nate gets there, looks at him. He's like, "All right, clean shaven." He's like, "You're full of shit. I want to see you this evening." When he walked in, he was like, and that guy was like, "Holy shit, man. We're going to have to make you shave at lunch?" I was like, "Dude, that's impressive."
Yeah, that's a skill I don't have.
Yeah. And I was telling the company man, I was like, "Man, I saw him this morning at breakfast." He was shaved.
Yeah.
I can vouch for him. So they finally just kind of said, "Okay, you're just shave in the morning."
Be all right.
Yeah.
If not, I mean, I don't know what you do outside of that.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
Have a job you don't have to shave, maybe. I don't
know. But man, when you get in frac, you're pretty committed.
Yeah, you're pretty
right?
committed. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, my dad told me once you get in the oil field, you don't get out.
Yeah.
And I have not seen a lot of people get out, but
there has been more people that have transitioned out. But one thing about the oil field is you're right. It's in your blood. It's you kind of just come to really love it. Is love it or hate it. Obviously, a lot of people who got in and got out almost as quickly as they did because they just couldn't.
Right.
Do it. And it's you've got the tumultuous of external factors with pricing and everything else, but then the other is you have to be somebody who likes activity,
right,
and doesn't mind those late night phone calls sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And now in sales, it's a lot easier when my phone rings at night because I'm like, okay, I know I'm not necessarily dealing with somebody hurt. The ops ones, my wife always made fun of me because I can sleep through a hurricane, and I have. But when my phone rings, even to this day, I'm not as bad at, or I guess good about it, waking up as I used to be. But it would ring, and first time I could mask the fact that my voice was sleepy, and be like, "Is everybody okay?"
Yeah.
And she was like, why do you always answer the phone like that? And I was like, if they're calling me at 3 o'clock in the morning,
that's your
something's
big,
not good.
Yeah.
That's your biggest worry. It really is.
I'm like, I don't care if something broke on location, but is everybody okay?
Right.
Okay, great. Let's fix it. Like, move forward.
It's a lot easier to weld than it is to like put legs back on.
Yeah. And that was always my deal. And like, so when my buddies would call, like screwing me with me because they knew I was, getting up early or whatever, they always made fun of me. Like, yeah, we're okay. Idiot. We're drunk at the deer lease. What are you doing? Talking to you. Stop calling me.
No, I've seen that multiple times. I actually had a conversation with my boss one day. I'd been up for like probably about around 2 days because like when we started, especially in 2004, 5, 6, 7, like when I was a field engineer, we didn't have the ability to kind of leave and to have 12-hour shifts and stuff like that. It was, hey, this is your job and you're going to go out there. And if you get to sleep, you get to sleep in the back of in your pickup maybe, or
the cab.
Like I refused to cab
Those
up in the
things,
tractors.
yeah.
I was out on that.
Yeah.
But it's maybe you could just like recline the engineer's chair and take a little nap. So you might get 5 to 20 minutes at a time across the course of like a day. So you might get an hour of sleep, but it's not rest, it's sleep. Mm-hmm. But I did kind of a 2-hour or a 2-day stint of that and got home and my boss called. We all know who my boss is. I'm not going to call him out on this deal. And we had about a 5-minute conversation because he was asking questions. I answered all the questions. And then I hung my Motorola Razr back up and went back to sleep. And I woke up like 4 hours later. And the first thing you do when you wake up and you're in operations is you check your phone. I checked my phone and was like, oh, he called. Oh man. And so I called him back and I was like, hey man, I'm sorry. Like I had did I miss your call or what? And he was like, oh no, you answered it. We got what you need. And I was like, you mind refreshing my memory? Because I do not remember that phone call at all. And it was, I really didn't. My wife thought it was the funniest thing ever.
You mentioned cabbing up. So I was the same way, especially once I got a truck. I was like, I'll find a way. And I'm not a tall guy, so I was able to get some decent rest in a truck. I'd never liked to do the cab up thing. And it was primarily because, so we were working, and I won't say the operator's name, but we were on location and it was New Year's Eve. And we didn't have any kids yet. I think my wife was not even at home. Maybe she may have been in Conroe. So I, said, hey, I'll take the night shift. It was the last day on the location anyway. I was like, I'll take the night shift, go home. I think I'd pull a double duty. It's like, go home, be with the family. It's New Year's, go have fun. I was like, but you pay me back next year because I'll have a kid by then.
Right.
And so, I made that mistake because there was only supposed to be like 3 stages left. And of course, what can go wrong does go wrong. All of a sudden we were missing sand trucks. Like we needed 4 more trucks to complete the last stage and they were like 4 hours away. So what happens? Cab up, shut everything down. And I'm like, well, I'm not even that tired. It's like 10 o'clock at night, New Year's Eve. We're all kind of pissed because we thought we'd be out of there. Right. And now we're stuck on location. And they'd even cut a lot of the lights on the light plants. Location was pretty dim. And so I'm in the data van with the treater and a couple other people, and we had the lights off in the data van, and we may have been actually just watching a movie. And all of a sudden, one of the cab lights, closest cab to us, the lights start flashing the lights, and what on earth is going on? So we all stand up and look out the window, and there was this very large operator. He was a bit of a character. He was had stripped down to his thong,
like an EO.
Equipment operator, stripped down to his thong and had the lights all in the cab. And he was standing up. He wasn't a very tall guy. So he was standing up between the seats dancing, and he was pulling the horn to try to get us to look at him. And we were like, dude, stop. Yeah. And after that, I was like, all right, I'm definitely not getting in a cab. No. I'm not going to sleep on that. I'm just going to go sit in the truck or in the data van.
I was completely out on sleeping on any mattress that was located in any truck that we had.
I don't know what he was dancing to because we didn't want to get that far into it, but he was having a hell of a time by himself. But he was trying to get our attention. He was like waving at the data van, like, burr, burr.
He was having a party and he was having a good time. You just didn't want to join.
Yeah, the great thing is we did verify that he was by himself.
That's good.
Yeah. So
how long was it before the random drug test after that event?
I think they may have nailed us when we got back to the yard, as a matter of fact. Those were always fun.
Oh yeah.
I love listening to y'all stories. I had it easy being in the Barnett. Like we had most of our locations were curfewed. I had it really. I probably had the cushiest job in the world.
I hated sending people to you guys.
Yeah, it spoiled them pretty quick. I mean, the fluid systems were a little tricky here and there, but not too bad. It was pretty much 105 barrels a minute, slick water.
Yep.
Pretty, I had to go out of district to get like legit good chem. I came to Oklahoma to run the ChemAd unit.
A ton of people came to my yard to learn how to run chemical. We'd run enough chemicals that you couldn't list them all out in Frac Pro. Like I'm keeping track of these 8 on this screen, and there's 5 more over here that you can't see, but we're running them, and I'm just calling in for straps and I'm calculating by hand.
Yeah.
So one of the we were talking stories earlier, and I think it was an Oklahoma guy. That we had gone to help out a job with. And they were running, because we were talking about breakers. He was running a dry breaker. Well, nobody had told him how to run dry breaker. He was running the blender. So he's sitting on a bucket of breaker on top of the blender. And they were like, hey, somebody was like, hey, did you run the dry breaker? And it was supposed to be Peter Dan. I forgot what the setting was.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't know. So he just started cutting bags and dumping it all into the tub.
Ooh, that's handy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, completely, screened out the well. Everybody's trying to figure out why the fluid system crashed. He didn't know what the breaker did.
Right.
This was a different frac fleet than the one you were. I'm just joking. But I mean,
well, Jeff's like, I did learn my lesson.
Yeah, this wasn't a Weatherford fleet, was it? Or
so the guys who were telling me the story, they were like, hey, the coolest thing about it though is after we're trying to chase down what happened. Obviously we shut down. We're trying to flow back and everything else. And the guy's like, hey, is it a problem if I dumped all of that in at once? They were like, yes. And he was like, shit, that was me.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, my bad, dog. If I had $1 for every time I heard my bad, dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, I like the good old days when people would actually say that instead of like trying to sweep it under the rug or something. Like,
what are you talking about?
At least At least when because screw ups happen. At least when they did, they own up to it. And now you kind of like got to search for it.
Yeah, that's all right. We had guys that persulfate breaker used to come in 5-pound bags. And so the breaker augers sometimes didn't work. And the way that works is as long as that breaker auger is turning, whether there's anything in there or not, there's nothing to tell you whether it's actually going in. So I would have the guys put in 10 pounds and it's like, all right, I need you to watch. And I could calculate how long it would take until about 7 pounds had run out. And I'd have them look, it looks like about 2/3 of it's gone. Now we'll put more in. Well, they got smart one day and they're like, well, these are in 5-pound bags. I just know about every this long. I just need to take this bag and throw it in the blender tub. And that's what they were doing. They were slugging it with 5 pounds of dry, unencapsulated persulfate breaker I don't remember how many barrels, but it's just like, I'll dump this one in. Plastic and all. Like they weren't taking it out of the bag. They would just chuck the bag in the blender tub. Yeah. And I was like, usually there would be a trash bag or you get one bucket and that's where all of the trash kind of accumulates. And you go up there. One day I was just asking, I was like, man, where'd you guys put all the bags at? And he was like, oh man, we just throw them in there. It sucks them right down. And I was like, really?
Has anybody ever had a duck decoy show up in their blender tub?
No, that's a new one.
Yeah.
I've had fish.
We had a duck decoy in the frac tank and it came in through the suction side, like everything, and ended up in the tub, then went down the tub. Who knows? But we couldn't get it out of the tub. It was mid-job, and we're not going to shut down because there's yeah. So I mean,
I remember. So
it's pretty crazy.
I had moved to the office, and I was going out to go visit one of our customers, and this location we were rigging up on. It was fairly unique because you could see out the back of his trailer if you stood up and looked out the windows. There was the huge pond, the frac pond.
Right.
It's all fresh water, right? There's not treated water. It's just well water.
Yeah.
It's like just a regular pond. So I'm sitting there talking to the buddy of mine who's a consultant, and he's like sitting there chatting, and you see this guy, lease hand come in, and he's like, "Hey, boss." He's like, having a conversation, don't interrupt. And the guy's sitting there for a minute, and he's like, "Hey, boss." I was like, "Dude, just stop.
Hold up."
And I started looking at the guy, and then my buddy, the consultant, sitting there talking to me, and he was carrying on with the story. And I'm looking at the guy, I'm like, something's not right. And I was like, "Hey, you might want to talk to him." And he was like, "What?" He's like, "The pond has a leak." He's like, "Well, go get the other lease hands and get your bulldozer front end loader and move some dirt around." He goes, it's a good leak. I'm sitting there, I'm like looking at him, and I'm like, what is this guy trying to say? And so then like he's like, it's big leak. And so like we stand up and I look out there, I'm like, holy shit. Like the entire side of this tank had just gone. It was like 500,000 barrels of water. Just went like tidal wave through this pasture. Like I would have paid to see the wave that came crashing through because it washed out a county road. Like we had to find another way to exit the ranch because we had to rig down and we had no water. And the guy's like, he's like, why didn't you tell me? He was like, I tried. It was like, that's not trying, man. You got to come in with a little bit of more enthusiasm. Like, hey, the entire dam just breached. Yeah, we just sent a cow surfing.
Yeah, it's like that. We caught a blender on fire one time. Just it was the first time anybody, I mean,
on purpose?
Not on purpose. Okay. Not on purpose.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Right. Typically, that's one thing I try not to do is like burn things down.
All right.
Well, we were on this I don't remember where it was. We were in the Texas Panhandle somewhere. And the blender tenders up there, and we're almost done with the job. We're 3/4 done. I mean, we've got two more stages, like two more inside the stages to a couple more steps to go, and the stage is over. I'm sitting there, and we're kind of working some things out, and I hear blender's on fire.
That's in the calmest voice.
Yeah, in the chillest voice you can imagine. I was like, "Hey, man, what'd you say?" And it's like, blender's on fire.
I repeat, blender's on fire.
Yeah. I was like,
just
wait a minute. Like, I look over, I was like, did he just say the blender's on fire? And they're like, yeah, that's what I heard. And I like lean up and look around, and I was like, you gotta be shitting me. Like, the blender is on fire. Like, the first thing I hear out of the company man is, do we have time to flush? And I'm like, I don't know. And I just took my headset off and ran out of the van. I grabbed 2 fire extinguishers and ran to the blender. Well, there was a couple guys that had beaten me. And so we're chucking fire extinguishers onto the deck of the blender, putting the fire. He's running the controls and running a fire extinguisher with one hand. The fire'd come up, he'd put it out, and we actually flushed the well. And it was the dumbest thing ever. But we put it out, pulled that blender out, put a new blender in, kept on going.
So I'm assuming that the guy who was fighting the fire was not the same guy who put the bags of breaker just straight up in the door.
Or
because he would have just thrown the fire extinguisher right at the fire and just be like, it'll explode.
Yeah. No,
put it out.
Yeah, no, this guy was he was a great guy, man. He was ex-military. I don't think you could really stir him up about too much. Yeah. He just, whenever, eventually that was kind of his last step before he started treating. And once he got in the van, I mean, he was really kind of that way. I mean, it's like, he's like, no, we'll get it figured out. He had the correct attitude. Like, he knew what was important and what wasn't important. After that, we had a little talk, and he figured out setting the blender on fire, or the blender catching on fire was important. Yeah. And once again, you need a little more emphasis on like, hey, this is on fire. Yeah. But other than that, man, I mean, he was a great guy.
Yeah. I mean, so have you seen, there's an old TV show, and I loved it. And it, like, the latter seasons that came out on Netflix were not as great, but Arrested Development. Yeah. So, like, it sounds like the doctor who, like, when Buster gets his hand cut off, or the seal eats it, and he's like, all right, your son, ma'am, is going to be all right. And she's like, oh, thank God. And they walk in, he's got the hook on his left hand. And he's like, oh my God, he lost his hand. What? Like, I thought you said he was all right. Yeah, he's all right. Yeah. Or like, when the dad escapes and he runs to Mexico or whatever, and like the doctor comes out and he's like, he was in the hospital because he faked an illness at the prison. Doctor comes out to the family. He's like, hey, I don't know what to tell y'all. We lost him. And they immediately start breaking down. And he's just standing there and they're like, well, can we see him? He's like, not really anything to see. And they were like offended. They were like, well, that's our dad. We have to go say goodbye to him. And he's like, all right. And they walk in. They're like, well, it's an empty bed. They're like, where is he? He was like, I told you, we lost him. And that's when they started fighting. Like, your bedside manner is the worst.
But I will point out, like, how many other...
I could see some devs of ours, like, pulling that.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But how many other industries do you see the stuff like, I mean, we've all got some like really off the wall stories.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, and it's all over the place, but especially whenever we started, and a lot of them are in the field because a lot of times what happens in the field does not translate back to the office.
Yeah. And secondly, most of these stories don't really happen anymore. Like, we've come a long way from it wasn't even gunslinger when we were there, but it felt like it.
Yeah. So there's a good friend of mine. He's military guy, Purple Heart, lives in the valley. He's got a brewery down there. George, great guy. Need to get him up here. He'd probably bring us beer.
Be all right.
They do like he's got a huge, like this brewery is absolutely incredible. But he was an oil and gas guy. He had graduated college, went to the military after 9/11, did his stint, then came back. And I begged him all the time. Like I was like, let me make you supervisor. When I was running the district, and he was like, no, I just want to be an operator, man. I go home on the weekends. I don't have a cell phone. I don't have an email address. You can't make me do anything.
Don't have to worry about it.
And he was a trip, but he's also one of probably the dirtier guys I know. And so he was running the blender. He was really good at it. Like, I mean, he was a guy, like, I knew he was going to get the job done.
Right.
Like one of my favorite guys, good buddy of mine to this day. So this company we were working for, they had an intern out. And the intern sitting behind me, I'm, in the data van. This is, I guess, maybe before I moved into the office, or maybe I was just out visiting. I can't remember. Intern is sitting in the back of the data van next to the company man, and he just says, hey, can I go to the blender? Yeah, I don't see why not. Now, those blenders we had then were the doghouse ones. And great in theory, but the AC was terrible because it was
always
sucked up the
broken.
sand.
Yeah, it was a sweat box.
Yeah, so it becomes a hot box. It's just a metal hot box,
Right.
about, 4 foot by 4 foot?
Be about right, yeah.
And so, I didn't even think that George was on the blender. I didn't think anything. I was like, yeah, just walk out to the blender. Didn't give him a radio. I don't think I had an extra radio. And I was like, yeah, but, just go up to the blender. Then it hits me as he's walking. I was like, shit, George is in there. And I was like, that AC is not working either. And so this college kid walks up,
I already know this.
climbs up the ladder, and he like opens the door, and this guy, and they had relaxed, and I think they allowed beards, and he had, he's got a couple tattoos, as most people do these days, and he had his coveralls like down around his ankles, no shirt on, just boxers. Turns around and looks at the kid. He's like, hey, come on in, man. I'll teach you how to run this shit. And that kid, they said he flew. He jumped off the top into a pile of sand that had been spilled over. And he jumped into that, and he came back and was like, no, I don't want to go to the blender. And I was like, oh, my God. And I hear George cackling over the radio, and he's like, man, I'm sorry. Send the kid back. I'll be good.
Yeah.
He's lucky.
Our George was a gentleman named Big Sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you can go back. I promise you. And he was like, no, dude, I can see it from here. And that company man was cracking up because he knew George about as good as I did. And he starts laughing. He's like, fuck, dude, you shouldn't have sent him over there.
Surprised he didn't ask if George had pants on. Like,
No, there was nothing. He just like underwear. That was it.
Yeah, no, it was
in
like
his work boots.
I've met very few equipment operators that are afraid of nudity. Like it used to be, it was bad, man.
Yeah.
Like we had one that would, back to cabbing up. I mean, if he was in the cab for more than about 10 minutes, he was stripping down, and he would take his underwear and he would hang it like kind of on the side mirror just of the truck, and then roll the window back up.
Let you know that he was in there.
Yeah. So guess what truck? We would always send the new guys to go wake him up. He'd come flying out of that truck. He surprised a lot of people.
Oh man, that's like one of those things that you just don't want to be surprised with, though.
Yeah, no, especially not whenever you figure those were Mack trucks and you're eye level with that seat. Like it was not a.
What other industry can have stories like these? Like,
I don't
for
know.
real.
Jail?
Jail.
Maybe firemen?
I'm sure there's a lot, but I mean, it's, that's what I always loved is like, you meet some of the most like unique, but also like just down to earth, good people.
Yep.
And and obviously not everybody's like that, but like there's very few that I met when I was working in South Texas that, I could truly be like, he's not a good person.
Oh yeah, anytime, like to me, almost anybody, if I had ever needed anything, and that was what was really cool about being on the crew. It was like, and with those guys, I mean, that becomes a team.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, we were all brothers. It didn't matter where you came from, what your level of education was, what you're willing to do. If you were willing to get there with everybody else and work hard and just not worry about that's my job, this is our job. If you came about it like that, nobody would give you anything but the utmost respect. And just, they would do anything for you.
Yep.
A lot of those guys, like they police themselves so well because if you're not working hard, they don't want you on their crew.
Right.
And it's very obvious. Like, and it's not, that's the guys when I moved into management, you'd hear, oh, he's an asshole. And then you start talking and it's like, you talk to the rest of the crew. Cause I'm like, okay, well, if he's an asshole, let me talk to him. And let's go through and see what we need to do to change this.
Right.
And you start talking to the guys on the crew and they're like, nah, dude, that guy just doesn't work.
Right.
Like he's the first one in the crew van.
Yep.
He's the last one off the crew van.
Yeah.
He's not a team player, whatever. And you're like, okay, well, maybe we'll move him to a different crew and see if that changes things.
Right.
But I remember, so early on, and when the Eagle Ford was cranking up in 2010, like everybody we were hiring, if you just had a CDL, you could get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll teach you how to frac.
We were paying to go get their CDLs.
Yeah, and so these OTR guys, these over the road truckers, we hired some, and we were staying in Laredo, like mile marker number 3, like big Holiday Inn, tall Holiday Inn, and guy made it one day. Went out to a rig up and didn't show up for yard call, and supervisor goes up and bangs on the door, and guy opened it, was like, I quit, I can't do it. Made one day, and the guy's like, that wasn't even that bad. Like we drove and had a half day of rigging.
Yeah.
Like he was like, no, I can't do it.
We had some of those.
And like the supervisor was like, well, you got to get out of this hotel room, bro. He's like, I can send you back to Alice. And he's like, okay, well, I'll give your guy a call when I wake up. And he's like, no,
Now
we're out. Like you're out. You got to go.
Yeah.
We lost a couple of guys like that just, they saw the money.
Right.
Right. And it was different then. The money was considerably different.
Yeah.
And so they saw that, and they saw an opportunity to come in and do something a little bit different. But then they weren't aware that it was outdoors.
Yeah.
Like they were like, oh, I thought it was just like running a piece of equipment like in an air conditioning van. We're like, no,
Man,
like,
dude, my first week of green. I've never been anywhere near oil and gas well in my life. Like week 1 of training, I was on the Sand King, Mountain Mover, whatever,
whatever you call it.
Yeah. Pick your term. In the middle of winter in DFW, it was almost like that Snowmageddon that came. I mean, it was cold as crap, like 14 degrees and blowing cold air.
Yep.
As an engineer, like, fuck, like, what did I just sign up for? Like,
Yeah. Why am I doing this to myself?
But, that gave me that much more appreciation for that guy that's actually up there. Like,
Yeah.
Because I knew eventually I was moving into the van and calling a job and but not going through that, like, would have been so detrimental to me in my life.
Yeah. They taught me, on the blender, like on those cold nights, like to, stand by the exhaust. Yeah. Like, this isn't very healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know what I got myself into.
But it's
that
warm as
first
shit
week.
right now.
Right. Yeah. Don't worry about the fumes.
Yeah,
but
don't worry about the fumes.
Yeah, but the heat is nice.
Yeah. Like I always thought it was funny. So like I came into that engineering class. We're going to have to wrap it up here in a minute. I came into that engineering class. I think the class before you at Weatherford.
Yep. You were.
And so they, would bring us into Houston and you got to know all the other engineers that got hired on for this like hiring class. And I was in South Texas, and I think you were in DFW. Some other people were in the Northeast. This is when they had North Dakota, Arkansas was open, whatever. And so we were all a pretty tight knit group, and I still talk to a lot of those guys today because most of them are still in the industry.
Yep.
But it was so hilarious. So we have this kind of text thread going with a bunch of us, and they were like, "Hey, how's it going in South Texas?" I was like, "Man, it's shut down for weather." Like in December or something like that. Like, man, shut down for weather. Like, holy shit, how cold is it? It was like 30 degrees. This is a guy in Pennsylvania. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, it just snowed like 14 inches. And like, I'm out here like looking like a damn Eskimo. Like, I've got all this clothes on. I can't do anything. And I was like, we're not set up for that here, man. Like the sand trucks were sliding off the road.
Yeah.
They just shut us down. We're shut down for the week.
Yeah,
He was like, you got to be kidding me.
That's it. We brought a South Texas crew up to Oklahoma, and it was, it turned off cold. It was like 5 degrees.
Oh, yeah,
and they
we
pulled
don't do
up. No, they did not do that. They're like, we're not in for this.
No,
They
we're not built for that.
They got back in the trucks and they went home.
Yeah, we're not built for that. They don't.
But then the opposite's true. When it's 110,
Yeah.
those boys are working. And the
Yeah.
guys from the colder climates can't hang at all.
I had a dude that worked for me. This guy, I don't know how he did it. He would wear, he was an older guy, and he always wanted to work sand. I mean, all right, work sand. Who cares? He would wear his coveralls, and underneath he'd have like a pair of Wranglers, and then he'd have like an undershirt and a welding shirt,
Oh man.
like thick welding, like Wrangler welding shirt,
Yeah.
and then the coveralls on top, and he'd have like gator around his neck for the sun. And one day I was like, holy crap, man, these coveralls aren't thin. I was like, how are you not just dying over heat? He's like, man, I've dressed this way for 50 years. He was like, if I don't wear this, I feel weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, man. Like,
Yeah, we had a guy
drink water.
Yeah, we had a guy that grew up on a ranch, and that's what under his clothes he would wear Wranglers, He wore lace-up boots.
Yep.
They were steel-toed lace-up boots now, but he had lace-up steel-toed boots. And then he had a pearl snap shirt like you'd get at Atwood's or something like that. And that's what he wore every day. Yep. All he did was put his coveralls on and take his coveralls off. Yep. And that was it.
I was like, man, you got to be just absolutely.
Yeah, when it was super hot outside, the rest of us are like, it is nothing more than, if I was wearing a shirt, it had the sleeves cut off of it, and I had shorts. And that was it.
I was basically in boxers.
So, yeah, I think we're going to have to do another one of these. Because we're kind of stretching for time. I know we're going to be able to pull some good stuff out of this.
I go slice that brisket up.
Yeah, I'm ready for dinner. Yeah. I got the beans on. Hopefully somebody watch those. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
They'll be all right.
They'll be good if they won't.
Yeah. But this has been fun. We're gonna do, I think, some more kind of like tales from the patch and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun talking about the old stories, and so I think we're gonna have to get back together in a few weeks and
all right.
kind of keep this going. So we've got a lot to take care of. We've got a absolute ton of people showing up tomorrow, I think.
Banger.
Yeah.
I'm scared to look at the list again to see if it's grown. So we're going to go get stuff prepared. We're going to go eat dinner. Perhaps go to bed at a decent hour.
That's
These
not going
clowns,
to happen.
probably not.
Easy there.
But yeah, so we appreciate it. Hopefully this is interesting, and appreciate it. Look up Ryan on, Ryan's over here. Look up Ryan on LinkedIn, or look up Jeff on LinkedIn. Yep. And of course on Lee. So thanks everybody.